Right, let's get you from new player to hero in 15 minutes. First of all, you start the game, you come in, you look up there, you see the mini-map, it's very small. Clicking on it does nothing, right-clicking on it does nothing. There is a button down here, compass map toggle. It does not have an equivalent key binding, so you can't press a key to do this. Click on it once to make that mini-map bigger. Click on it again, the mini-map disappears. That's not what you want it big. If you hover over things shown in the mini-map, it will tell you what they are. That will become more useful later on. Travelling around the world, there is a fast travel option when you unlock a rift gate. That purple thing is a rift gate. The unlocked ones look a bit green until you run up to them and then they turn purple. What I will do is I will travel a fair enough distance away so this is apparent what's going on when I travel back to it. You can put a rift down. There is an icon to click on there, rift travel. It has got the letter L assigned to it. That is the keypad L. Don't know what it is on the console command. It's probably one of the little buttons on top of your gamepad. Anyway, if you put a rift down, you can use it to travel about. You do not need to do that. I can click on that and then it will open the map and it will show me that I can go back to Devil's Crossing Rift. However, there is a better way to do that, a more pro way to do it. If you open the map up, with the M key, you'll get the local map up, which you can scroll around. If you click on local map, it will change to the world map. I have not put a rift down, I'm just clicking on that, and that creates a rift at the point I click on that one. Then when I click on this rift and go back, it takes me back to where I just mapped to. So that's a pro tip. This is how the pros do it. It's how I do it anyway. You open the map and travel rather than putting a rift down and running over to the rift and clicking on it. When you put one rift down, it will get rid of the previous one. So every time you put a rift down, it gets rid of the previous one. If you map somewhere, it will put a rift down, it will get rid of the previous one, and you can go back to it. That rift will stay there if you die. Obviously, the pro tip will be don't die. But if you die, death is not the end. When you die, you lose experience, but you can recover some of the experience you lost by collecting your grave marker. Now, what you can also do is you can travel back to the rift that you put down. The rift doesn't go when you die, it stays there. So when you're exploring, keep putting rifts down if you're a bit wary of the area you're in. If you're in a new area, if you don't know what's going to jump out of the ground and attack you, keep putting rifts down, or keep putting a rift down, and then if you die, you can travel back to where you last put the rift down. There it is. Okay. When you attack that loot ball, you get a bunch of loot drop out of it. And what you'll notice from that is that that loot is multicoloured. The titles are multicoloured. That is because I'm running a mod. It's just a few text files that I put in the game folder. Rainbow loot filter. So as well as it making the title of the item different colours, if you hover over it, the damage types and stuff in the description show up with different colours. Lightning damage is blue, physical damage is yellow, and your attributes that it boosts, if it boosts your attributes, are shown in that kind of pink colour. Now what you're going to be thinking is what I've picked up better than what I've got? You need to go on to tab 2. Tab 2 will show you the damage done by your left and right mouse buttons. So that weapon attack there is showing there. If you hover over it, it will actually tell you the type of damage it is doing. That is very important. It is doing a lot of physical damage and some pierce damage. Now, if you swap it over with that weapon, you saw those numbers go up, right? You can see those numbers change when you click on that. It's showing weapon damage as a separate thing. It always shows weapon damage, but it will show whatever skill you've got on that button there and that button there will show here. I'm now doing more physical, more pierce, and obviously lightning because it's saying lightning. Hovering over that, 10 to 20 physical, 1 to 5 lightning, 15% physical damage converted to lightning. There's a damage conversion going on there. So you'd have to be doing some kind of maths in your head to figure out what the end result's going to be. Or you can just hover over that and look at those numbers and you know exactly what type of damage you're doing and what numbers are involved. So when you start thinking about playing a particular mastery that buffs particular damage types, you can look at that and you can use the knowledge that you've got of what that weapon damage is doing or what that skill on that button is doing to figure out what items you need to swap around. If you look at that, they both do 23 physical damage. The thing that's equipped has got +7 cunning. Physical damage types scale off cunning. No damage types scale off physique, right? So you've got the attributes you can buff: physique, cunning, spirit. Physique, it's more complicated than that because it's Grim Dawn, but basically just your defensive ability scales off physique. Cunning, physical damage types will scale off cunning. Magical and other non-physical damage types will scale off spirit. So it's a good idea, decide at the start of the game, do I want to be hitting things and doing a bunch of physical type damage? Do I want to be casting a bunch of spells? You don't really want to be doing both and spreading points all over the place. Arguably, you want to be putting a whole load of points into physique whenever you get the chance, apart from if you need to equip items and you need cunning and spirit to equip particular items, which you might do. Physique, getting your defensive ability up is always a really good idea. If you don't do this, if you decide not to, it doesn't matter, because later in the game you'll get rewards, quest rewards, potions that will allow you to completely undo your attributes and redo them. So it's not a case of, oh, I botched it, I've put all these points into cunning and now my defensive ability is low and I keep dying. There are ways of fixing all this. You can fix it with gear, you can fix it with mastery skills, you can fix it with devotion stuff, you can do all sorts. When you've been running around and you've completed the first major quest, you will have picked up a bunch of stuff. You might be hovering over this thinking, well, I don't know whether I want any of this stuff. Again, if you get tab 2 open and have a look at that, you can see whether it makes any difference to your damage. Early on, the more damage you do, the better. So you can swap a weapon around. That does a lot more damage as part of the weapon attack, but the damage type is different. Yes, it does some physical damage, but it's also doing a whole lot of poison damage. So if you want to know what you're carrying, what you'll notice is there's no way you can't search in here to put in like a text string to search for stuff to see whether you've got anything else that does poison damage. However, if you go to your stash and dump all your ill-gotten gains into there, that has got a search bar. Now that shows nothing has got poison damage, but if I put that sword in there, it's lit up. A bit more obvious what's going on. Physical damage would probably be everything, because physical damage is really common. That book doesn't. The book does vitality damage. Anything else do that? Just a book. Not that, not that, not them. It saves you having to hover over everything and decide whether, because you might miss it. And that thing looks interesting, doesn't it? That's what's called a monster infrequent item, Kaisog's Skull. That item only drops from one particular boss. No spoilers, this is the first one you have to kill, first mini-boss you have to kill as part of the campaign. I tried to avoid spoilers, but that's quite an interesting one. That's got poison and acid resistance on it. So if I was just looking for poison and not poison damage, that shows up because it's got poison damage on it. That shows up because it's got poison and acid resistance. The search is just a simple text search. It isn't clever. You put poison damage in, it's not looking for anything more complicated than the words poison damage in the text. The game doesn't have anything that specifically says this buffs crossbows or this buffs rifles, muskets, whatever. You will have something that would be for ranged, and you would have something that would be for two-handed. For example, when you go into devotions, you can put ranged in there if you want. Requires two-handed melee or two-handed ranged weapon. So that's all two-handed stuff, but it's ranged and melee. This thing down here requires a ranged weapon. You can put one-handed in and you'll see nothing on here specifies one-handed. However, you could put sword in there. Requires a sword. If you're using a one-handed or a two-handed sword, you will get benefit from that because it doesn't specify one or two-handed. Some of this stuff just basically adds damage into your weapon attack. Other things will give you a skill. That'll do poison damage, but it will give you attack damage converted to health. Okay, I've leveled up to level 10 and it took me 56 minutes. I haven't exactly been rushing this. I've been messing about trying a few things out because what I want to show you. I haven't picked my second class. What I would recommend is stick with a single class for as long as you can. I mean, you might even want to max the thing out and try out different skills on that class. It doesn't take long to get up to 50 points. Remember, every level up from level 2 up to and including level 50, you're going to get 3 skill points. So it won't take you long to max out this mastery bar, and that then unlocks all these skills. You can try them out against enemies, try them out against the training dummies on the gate, and then if you don't like it, claim the points back. There's the training dummies on the gate. If you don't like it, you can claim the points back at the spirit guide up here. Costs you 25 iron bits a shot, but I've got a couple of thousand. I've done this once already just to mess about. Iron bits cost 25, so you can undo these things. You can undo the skills. It's gone up to 50 because I've done it a load of times. Don't go crazy with this. It'll cost you iron bits, but hopefully a couple of undos and you'll find some skills that you think this is suiting the way I'm playing. But as I said, if you try out a load of skills on here, I mean, don't put 1 point into a skill and think, oh, it's no good. A lot of these attack skills, you want to put at least half, maybe the whole lot up to the soft cap to try it out, to see, does it do the damage you're hoping? What's the energy requirement? Is it eating through your energy? Then if you get to the point where you really do not like that mastery, you find you don't get on with any of the skills that are in there, you don't really like the way it's playing, you'd rather be a caster or you'd rather have pets or whatever, don't despair. Don't think, oh no, I've got to go and create a new character, because provided you hadn't yet picked that second class, you could have this thing up to level 50 wherever you want and be running around and think, okay, I'm going to try a different class out now. Come out of this. Right, I've refunded all my points, so I've now got 26 skill points. I've got 1 point spent in soldier, the rest of it I haven't. So what you can do is you can select any other class. Just for the sake of argument, I mean, I was going to do demolitionist, but let's try and find something totally different. So I had a blitz skill that was running around, and I had a cadence that was hitting things. The first mastery you pick, it's not like that's the main mastery. They're both equal, and you can take points out and swap them around as much as you want at the spirit guide. So if you want to do something totally different, say you want to pick necromancer. Now necromancer and soldier make you a death knight. Now late game, it's quite a strong build, but there is some late game gear that can be target farmed to make a really powerful death knight with ether attacks and all sorts. But you don't have to level up like that. You can level up with a necro on pets, and you can use soldier skills that buff allies. If you hover over something like that, so you know it's on field command, it's got a radius. That means any ally, any pet, or any, if you're in multiplayer, any body who's in your team. And in some of the missions, if you've got like friendlies around you, they will be buffed by within the 12 meter radius of field command. So there are soldier skills that can buff pets. So if you wanted to level up as a necro with pets and have that soldier buffing them, great. And then you get to endgame and you'll have money falling out of your ears at endgame. You don't worry about undoing points. You can totally respec all this so that you become a weapon and shield death knight doing ether damage and doing all sorts. But while you're leveling, you can be a pet build. That's a bit of an advanced tactic, but you're not tying yourself in to playing the game one particular way. I was running around as a soldier, I was hitting things with force wave, and I was running into things with blitz. That's how I got to level 10. And that's viable. It's viable as heck. I mean, that's a really good way to play. But you might want to be a necro, and you might want to go and pick raised skeletons. Now I've got a bunch of points to play with here, so max that out, and then get those boys like as strong as you can get them. You can keep putting points into that. So there's my pets. I'm now a necromancer with pets. So you go to the shop here, you can stick pets in there. Nothing, right, okay. He's not got anything for pets. What you do here is you jump up to another rift, run around and count to 5 or 10 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go back. Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm having a look. Don't worry about it. Pets. Yeah, right. He's got some pet stuff now. So going away and counting to 10 and coming back, his stock's refreshed. He's now got a pet amulet. Look at that thing there, plus 12%. I can't afford it, obviously, because I've just blown all my money on respecking, but it doesn't really matter. I've covered a whole load of things, and I've missed out a million more. If any of that was useful, let me know. I'll try and do more videos like this, because hopefully they'll be helpful. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.